erection of a super smart camera surveillance network has raised questions about its legality and privacy. Right groups are raising concerns over people's private information. The police are currently investigating Vumacam for the cameras, while regulators say the installation of the cameras was done illegally. To respond to all this, I'm joined now in studio by Crook, the CEO of Vumacam. Ricky, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
People are seeing cameras all over the city and they are wondering, what are all these cameras doing and who gave these guys permission to put up these cameras? What's going on?
Perfect. So really what we're seeing is that crime is out of hand. There's crime affecting people on a daily basis. And we thought of an innovative way in using technology to assist in the fight against crime. So really what we're looking to do is install a camera network. And we've got a security background, so we've been involved in the private security industry for the last 15 years. Yeah. And the challenge that we've found is that with over 11,000 security companies, everyone's fighting in isolation. Yeah. What we thought we would do is to say, why don't we build a common platform of CCTV cameras and work with all the security providers. So we sold our security business so that we can focus purely on a platform business, and we can work with all the security providers, making sure that the same criminals that rob on the Monday and the same criminals then hit the next suburb on the Tuesday, well, you can prevent the next incident from taking place because you're now collating that information and you're working in a collaborative effort.
Right. Now, surely you knew you were entering into a highly regulated space and therefore you needed to comply. First, you did not register with CIRA. Why?
So we're not a security provider. We don't run control rooms.
Well, that case did not stand. CIRA said you are a security service provider. You've got to be registered.
So as soon as they came in, they informed us, in our minds, we weren't providing any security services. We didn't have fleets on the streets. We didn't have control rooms. We're really a technology business and a technology platform. As soon as CIRA came and said, what the definition of what you guys are doing, we think that you should be registered, we dropped everything and we got registered immediately. Yeah,
well, they slapped you with a code of conduct charge, which, by the way, I believe the SAPS is also still investigating, even though you have now since registered with them.
So we haven't received anything, and we've actually followed up with CIRA, and we're setting up a meeting to clarify that.
The information regulator is also investigating you, because what essentially is happening right now, you are trading with people's data. And you're getting profit from it, but you did not ask those people that you're going to send that information to a third party.
So there's no personal information that we're taking.
Yeah.
The only information that goes through our system is number plates, your number plate that goes through our system, and really that only pops up in a security control room and in the SAPS war room if you are listed on a vehicle of interest list, meaning that you've been involved in a crime and you're operating in a stolen vehicle. Otherwise, you're anonymous to us, and we don't have, any personal information of any individuals.
Look, that's not what Right to Know says. In fact, one of the leaders of Right to Know we were speaking to earlier on in the week says he happens to be driving in Bryanston and got a call from a insurance company telling him of his whereabouts. The only way that could have been possible is if somebody actually knows that he's driving in that part of Bryanston and they've got that information. And his claim is that these cameras are selling off information not just to security companies, but actually to insurance companies as well.
So it's completely incorrect. There's no ways that a security company could have got his information and phoned him and known his whereabouts. Maybe there's other mediums or in terms of his cell phone or his vehicle car tracking, but I can categorically tell you that that's not from our system. We all work with insurance companies, as we see fraud is a crime. 30% of claims are fraudulent claims, and this is something that we are working with the insurance industry as it is crime related.
Yeah, but does that not emphasize the fact that you do need to be regulated, Ricky? Because it's you saying, no, I did not give that information. How am I supposed to know as an innocent driver into a complex that you did not sell my information?
So agreed. We want regulation. We want the bylaws to be updated. We want a CCTV policy. In the absence of these policies, we then going to look for EU standards, global standards, that we can hold ourselves accountable until policies catch up with the technology that's moving at a rapid pace.
Yeah. And as far as you know, what happens to this information? I mean, because the big issue, of course, with the regulator is how the information is processed.
Correct. And we've spent the past 2 years working with legal counsel and building the policies and the processes so that we are compliant when POPI does come into effect.
Right. So I'm asking you a question, what actually happens to the information as far as you know, as soon as you sell it over to a security company?
So we don't sell the information to any security companies. We provide alerts, either by behavioral analytics, which is a self-learning behavioral analytic that reports on exceptions. I'll give you an example. It happened in Doornfontein last week, Thursday. There was a violent attack where a guy shot 3 people. 1 person passed away, and we saw the person running past the cameras. The cameras flagged because it's unusual. People don't normally run in that situation. We escalated it to JMPD. JMPD arrested the guy 5 minutes after he committed a murder. So that's the basis of alert-driven black screen technology to say something unusual is happening here. Have a look at the screen and then get your manpower to look at it.
So you're using artificial intelligence.
It's artificial intelligence that's taking place. The rest of the information is filtering through the system and getting flushed out with no one ever looking at it. So we only store the information for 30 days. After 30 days, it gets overwritten and no one ever knows that it's there. The artificial intelligence filters up to 96% of that. Yeah. So only 4% of footage is unusual, which is someone's having a look at it and making a decision. Do I send out SAPs? Do I send out a reaction? Do I do something about it? And we don't know if you are a male or a female, black or white or Indian. It's non-biased technology that works on pixels. And only when the pixels say, we've never seen someone running, we've never seen a car door flying open, we've never seen something like that, have a look at this camera right now and make a decision.
So what are the claim that your systems are targeting black people in particular?
So it's impossible. So our system cannot do that. The algorithm works on pixels, and it works on the grey blobs that look at formulating patterns, and only if a pattern is unusual does it alert. So it's not telling you that because it's a white person or a black person, we should be alerting. We're saying something is happening here because the guy just shot someone and he's running past the cameras. And
so more and more of the residents are complaining that your system apparently is particularly targeting black people in those areas in which they live.
So it's incorrect. And I think a lot of these people, we invite them to our offices so we can actually demonstrate and explain how the software works. We've had many people have these concerns. And when I say many people, I'm talking a handful of people. And they've come to offices, we've explained it, we've demonstrated it, and they're extremely happy when they leave our offices.
Have you demonstrated to Right to Know? Why are they not convinced with this?
We've invited them on multiple times to come to our offices and to sit down so we can explain it to them, and they've never come through and followed up on our offer.
Yeah. The other anomaly that is being reported is your use of electricity. Apparently, you're illegally connecting, and you've had some challenges with the municipalities on this. Just clear that for us. What's going on?
So there's no illegal connections. We use power from the closest resident's house. We compensate that resident on an agreement, a formal agreement that we have with the residents, exactly the same way that your Telkom and MTN and Vodacoms are putting base stations and towers into people's property and using their electricity. It's gone so far as to say there's 450 road closures in the city of Johannesburg that operate your electric booms and lights and guard hats who have connected to homes, and City Power and all these people have confirmed that they're happy with those connections. Yeah. So we're trying to understand why we are being victimized.
How has this affected the billing of the various households? Because they say you've somehow raised their billing rate because of these illegal connections.
So we worked out exactly what wattage each camera draws, and then we compensate for that usage. So the homeowner is definitely not out of pocket. He's then paying that on to City Power. So there's no illegal, we're not stealing any power, there's a formal agreement. Every single one of our agreements has an agreement between us and the homeowner. We can't force them to go into an agreement. If they accept, we then compensate them for the feed, and they have a security camera that provides additional security around their household. Yeah. We are working with City Power to regularize this because we understand that it is a challenge and there are concerns around it. So, we're working with them on a task team at City Power to regularize this so that there can be a more sustainable solution.
And in the meantime, how many are these cameras? How many of them have been installed at this point?
So we've got 2,600 poles that have been installed.
Okay. That's a lot. I'm thinking at 1,000, so it's a little bit even more than that.
Yeah. And there's probably about 2,400 cameras that are operational.
And your relationships with the security companies, how is that regulated?
So we have a formal agreement with security companies. We vet which security companies can come on board. We're now working very closely with Business Against Crime and the Eyes and Ears project. and we're working to again, standardize, who may have access, making sure that when they have access, they become a responsible person. We're making sure that none of our customers can ever download footage so that it can be leaked into social media. There have to be a case number, and they have to come to us before any footage is downloaded. So we put a lot of belts and braces and protections around it because we need to be responsible around the
So,
data.
we see a lot of footage on crimes committed in suburbs and so on. Are you saying that is not your footage?
It's not our footage.
So security companies have got their own separate cameras that they've set up?
Households have their own, businesses have their own, shops have their own. CCTV is not something new. The way that we're doing it on a single platform is something new, because when an investigation takes place, SAPS, JMPD, whoever's doing the investigation would have to then go to this security company, then that security company, to that, SPA, to that Pick and Pay, try to collate all that information.
Yeah.
If we are the single platform, they have to come to one place, get the information, which means that they can respond much quicker, and the chances of catching that perpetrator is much higher.
Right. Being a single platform then requires you to be on some kind of network or some kind of cloud, right? Which means you are susceptible to hackers, essentially. How do you protect that information?
So we work with multiple fiber providers. We take the footage back to a tier 4 data center at Terraco, and we've built our own firewalls. We've actually even gone so far as employed ethical hackers to try and penetrate and test our systems, which they couldn't get into. We've looked at taking a milestone video management solution, which is the first globally GDPR compliant management solution, and employed that. So we've taken all the responsible steps to making sure that no one can have access and get into our information.
So if you've gone through all this trouble, you've demonstrated to people, and in your own words, there is a number of people who actually are approving of your surveillance security system, why so much contestation of this technology?
When you say so much, we think it's a handful of people that are just
really
loud.
If you've got 4 investigations going on against you from authorities, it's loud, it's big.
Yeah, I think it's something that's it's new. It's never been done before. There's no rule book that guides us in terms of you have to do this and you have to do this. We're playing in uncharted territory where the technology is moving faster than the laws can catch up with it. So we embracing, the cities and the regulators, so we can work with them, and we want to be part of the ecosystem that we all work collectively and in a responsible manner.
All right, Ricky, I appreciate your time and thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
That's the CEO of Vumacam, Crook there, following, of course, the conversation we had earlier on about 4 or so institutions at this particular point looking at this company and how they are conducting their business.